which I think sometimes as homeschool moms, we can kind of squirm when we hear that because we are not in public schools, some of us for that reason, because we want the freedom, we want all of that side of the positives of homeschooling, right? But sometimes we can go so far on that side where we're like, hey, we need a little bit of discipline. Like, hey, let's just, you know, let's reel it in a little bit because... Hey guys, welcome back. It's good to see you all. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jaimie. Welcome. It's good to have you here. This is just my teeny tiny little space of the internet. It has evolved over the last 10 years from pregnancy vlogs and living with 2 under 2 and then 3 under 3 and now homeschooling and kind of all the areas of my life as a mom with 5 kids, chronic illness, and trying to just lean into Christ as my all through it all. Today I wanted to share with you guys some of the obstacles and some of the things looking back at last year's homeschool that this year I am really praying over and trying to do the work to overcome, and just looking towards this upcoming school year, what I'm really wanting out of our school year, what I'm wanting as a mom, and the areas that I'm wanting God to really refine in me, and the things that I'm excited about for this upcoming school year. Last year, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. We also had a lot of big things happening in our family. We had a flood in our house. We had a brand new baby. I had trauma and things that kind of came to a head that I needed to work through, family things. Like, we just had kind of a big year last year. So that being said, I was postpartum with a new baby, all these things were going on, and we also continued to homeschool through it. I know that everybody has life that happens, and if you're a homeschooling mom, it doesn't stop, right? People have illness, there's family issues, there is, you know, life circumstances, financial hardships, all of the things. And so I hope this can be an encouragement to you guys, because I am very well aware that we all are walking this journey together, even though it's different for each of us. Looking back at the last year of homeschooling, I would say that my number one obstacle that I faced was consistency as a homeschool mom. It's difficult to kind of walk that line between grace and having flow in your life and allowing for days off and freedom when you have hardships and all of those kinds of things. But also having consistency and really keeping that discipline to know that this is what we do, this needs to continue to get done. I had a hard time with that last year. I struggled with my health. When you have thyroid health in particular, when you have thyroid health problems, it can affect all of the hormones in your body. And so not just is it a health issue, but it can be an emotional and hormonal issue as well. So it affects your brain, it affects your energy levels, it affects how you perceive things. And so I am 100% aware that I really feel played an impact on our last school year. Mom had a hard time. I had a hard time. We did a lot of schooling from the couch. We did a lot of schooling from my bed. And I am so grateful and humbled. I'm honestly humbled at how much we got done. It goes to show you, I feel like in our family, God's sovereignty and His grace, because we got done a lot, even though I was on the struggle bus, it feels like 90% of the time. And so consistency for me was a big one last year. Looking at this upcoming year, I really want to focus on discipline and consistency, which I think sometimes as homeschool moms, we can kind of squirm when we hear that because we are not in public schools, some of us for that reason, because we want the freedom, we want all of that side of the positives of homeschooling, right? But sometimes we can go so far on that side where we're like, hey, we need a little bit of discipline. Like, hey, let's just, you know, let's reel it in a little bit. I was listening to Jaimie from Simply Living It, which if you do not follow Jaimie was a long time subscriber of mine before she even started uploading videos. I knew her screen name, I knew her face, and then once she started uploading videos, and like she knew me, but once I got to know her, I was like, yes. It wasn't long until I reeled her in and really got to know her and became friends with her, because her heart for Christ, her heart for her family is just so beautiful. But she did a video recently sharing the 3 things that really affected her homeschooling in a positive way, the things that really changed her homeschooling. And she said consistency was like the #1 thing that she saw in her homeschool, that once she implemented and once she really focused on consistency, things changed and she saw a difference. And that just spoke to me so much, because I really have seen the negative impact on my children, on my family, on our routine, that having a lack of consistency, like what the fruit that produces, and it's not good fruit, you guys, at all. And I don't want it to be lost that I do have grace for myself through that season, because sometimes that's just what life looks like. Sometimes you deal with big things, and you know, memorizing your multiplication facts isn't at the top of the list when it comes to relationships, when it comes to living life with your children and with your family. And I'm totally aware of that, you guys. I'm just looking at it as just, this is just what it is. We weren't consistent, so how do we move forward, and what do I need to do to change that? And also, what do I need to do to navigate the repercussions of that last year, of what that looks like now, trying to get everybody back on the train. Sometimes, I don't know if you can relate to this, it feels like I am trying to pull everybody on to get the train going, you know, like all 5 kids, sometimes my husband too, a lot of the time me, you know, I'm trying to convince myself we've got to do this. And so that's kind of where we're at right now, is we're kind of living in what not being consistent, what that looks like, you know, the effect of that. I don't want to say repercussions, but there's good and bad consequences, and that's kind of where we're at right now. So we're living in between that, in that tension, which is not bad. It's good. I think that there's lessons to be learned. There is grace, and there is love and Christ's sovereignty and grace that covers all of it in the midst. And I truly know that we will get through this, and everybody will get used to being back on a consistent routine again, but it's just gonna take time, and I need to have grace through that. So that's my mindset with consistency looking toward this upcoming year. I want to depend more fully on Christ for the things that I need, for the reboot of my soul. Take the time that I need to take off when I need to do it, but I don't want that to be a crutch. I need to look to Christ for that and be consistent as much as I possibly can in our homeschool, because it is important. And so that's just me being transparent. That was the biggest thing that I looked at over this last year. If you're not already subscribed to Just Making It Work, Anna, she shares very transparently what life as a homeschool mom with chronic illness looks like. She has Hashimoto's as well. And so I have really connected with Anna a lot in a lot of ways. She is like a few years ahead of me, and so I feel like I'm kind of living where she was at a few years ago, so I learn a lot from her and I glean a lot of wisdom. But not only does she share the reality of it, she shares really practical tips of what helps her, or what helps her. She shares practical tips of what helps her to thrive and do her very best as a homeschooling mom. So she, I feel like, is on the other side of this. So I'm gonna link her channel down below as well. So her channel, Jaimie's channel. I'm just gonna do all the shout outs today, because really there is so many amazing women, and a lot of which I am so blessed and humbled to call friends, because they are so incredible and they pour into you guys. But they also pour into me a lot. And so I want to share as many of them as I can with you guys, because social media can be just so crappy. But I truly believe that God takes what was meant for evil and he brings so much good from it. And so there is just so many amazing moms that are standing firm on Christ's word in their homes and are doing the hard work. And so I'm thankful for social media in that sense. So I want to like open-handedly give you all the resources that you can. If you're not already, you're probably already subscribed to them, but I'm gonna link them down below because I'm sure there's one mom at least that's not, and her life's gonna be radically changed by knowing these moms. Okay, the next thing that I really want to focus on this upcoming year is to focus on my children's individual interests and strengths. I want to focus on the flowers and I want to water them. You know, we were in survival mode for a long time and now I feel like I'm kind of coming out of that. And so I want to parent with open eyes instead of just, you know, surviving on math and English because we got to get it done. There is a season for that, I'm just saying. But this year, I want to try my hardest to work on baking with Fiona, building things with Jude because I know he loves that. More of the artistic and instruments and things like that with Ezra because I know that that's his jam. Gigi is 4 and she just loves to be with me. She's like, let's play Barbies and I'll cuddle with you, and that's good enough for her, which I'm thankful for because we all know how fast that they go through that phase. And so this upcoming year, that's what I really want to focus on. Along with that, I want to foster joy in our home this year. Even though we're going to really focus on consistency and getting that schoolwork done on a regular basis, I want to focus on our relationship and not just checking the mark, like checking off the box. That sometimes can be easy to do when you are in survival mode or when you have a really overpacked plate. And so this year, I want to focus on that. Speaking of an overpacked plate, that's my next thing. Homeschool has always been a part of our life, and I don't think it should be our life, but I think that as my kids are getting older, it needs to be a bigger part of our life. I need to be okay with telling people we can't do things because we have school. Sometimes when you're a homeschool mom, people can assume that your schedules are just always open. You know, like, well, she can meet for lunch. They homeschool. They're already home. Or we can do a park date any day because you're always home with your kids homeschooling. And yes, that is a huge benefit of homeschooling, that you have that flexibility to go to the park, to go to the lake, to do the fun things. However, sometimes I don't want to miss out on all the fun things. And so then I put school on the back burner because then we are like going and hanging out with friends, or we're going on a field trip, or we're going and having lunch with grandma, which is important. Let me just say that again. You guys are going to be so annoyed, but it is important. I would rather be able to have lunch with my children's grandparents and have those experiences versus not be able to. However, there is that balance that I talk about that I'm striving to try to bring more into our homeschool and our lifestyle, is that balance. And so that is something I'm wanting this year, is to feel confident and be okay with saying no to things, because we do have to keep that homeschool space safe and sacred, and it needs to be a priority. And the last thing, I know that there's more things that I'm really wanting to focus on, but the last thing that I want to really focus on this upcoming year, when I look back at last year, I struggled getting up early. I struggled prepping because I was overtired. My health was really bad. I had a newborn. I mean, rightfully so. I was exhausted. And so we got up when we got up. We did school when we did school, and that's okay. Like I said, there is a season for that. But I feel like for us, with 5 children, with the children that I have and the way that I am, getting up before my kids, prepping the night before, I want to be a prepared homeschool mom. I want to be a refreshed homeschool mom. I am in the middle of the Art of Home Education course from Angela Braniff. Once again, I will link her down below from this Gathered Nest. Angie has been a friend of mine. I've known her through YouTube for probably almost 10 years. And she came out with a course for homeschooling parents. I am about 1/3 of the way through, so I still have so much to do, but even just what I've done has just really brought a lot of great conversation, a lot of things that I've brought into prayer, things that I've thought about and meditated on. It's been very beneficial to me as a homeschool mom, and I am excited to see the fruit of that this upcoming school year. So I will link her course down below for you guys. It is worth it. So those are the things, looking back at this last year, that I feel were struggles for us, and looking towards this year that I am wanting to really step into faith and lean into Christ to work harder at. I don't know if you guys could relate in those. If you can, comment down below. It's always so encouraging to see your guys' comments, to hear your own personal stories as moms, as homeschooling moms. We learn from each other, and when we share openly with our struggles, when we share openly with our victories and things that we've overcome, that is the space where other people feel safe. That is a space where other people can examine their own selves and want to do better in. So thank you guys so much for joining me in today's video. I love you guys so much. I am so excited for a new school year, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.